Good morning. My name is Stefanie Hoss. I work in the Dutch project Portable Antiquities of the Netherlands as a Roman period specialist, and I would like to introduce our project to you today. I will start with the legal requirements and the history of PAN, and then explain the database itself and how we work. And finally, I would like to show you some examples of the research that has been made possible with the database so far. In principle, PAN records all man-made objects found outside archaeological excavations on the European territory of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. That is, not only on land, but also in so-called water bottoms. That's all inland waters such as rivers, lakes and the IJsselmeer, as well as the bottom of the North Sea. And that's quite a lot, as the territory of the Netherlands extends as far as the Dogger Bank. Just to give you an idea of the amount of data we have recorded, I've put the current figures on this slide. On November the 1st, there were more than 160,000 records in our system, with over 202,000 finds from almost 15,000 sites. Of these, not quite 100,000 finds have been validated yet, but these can be accessed and viewed by anyone on our public page. And now let's look a little at the history of PAN. On July the 1st, 2016, a new cultural heritage protection law came into force in the Netherlands that declared searching with metal detectors in the top 30 centimeters of the ground to be legal under certain conditions. Prior to this, metal detecting had been illegal in the Netherlands, but was widespread and largely tolerated. The conditions under which metal detecting is legal under the law are that no searching on a protected monument takes place. This can be a national monument or an area protected by the province or municipality. That you only search with the consent of the municipality and of the landowner. That you only search 30 centimeters deep into the soil. That you are not searching in a river, a lake, or in the sea, and that if ammunition is found, the police is called right away. And if the find has a monetary value, there's a split 50-50 with the landowner, and all finds need to be reported to PAN with their exact location. PAN was launched as a research project at the Free University Amsterdam at the same time as this change in legislation in 2016. The project initially focused on metal finds collected by detectorists and mainly involved collections that had been built up after the metal detector became widely available in the 1970s. These finders were now very old men, and with their death, the information about the locations of the artifacts would have been lost. The exact location of the finds was rarely written down by these older finders and is only accessible if you sit down them and ask them in a friendly chat. In March 2022, PAN was made the National Institution for Reporting All Archaeological Chance Finds. This reorganization meant that PAN's responsibility now extended to the finds from water bottoms, thus from inland waters and from the Dutch part of the North Sea. We are now responsible for all finds from all materials and from all periods of mankind, from the Stone Age to the present day. Initially, PAN was developed and maintained as a research project at the Free University Amsterdam. After the grant ran out, we were relocated under the umbrella of a Citizens Heritage Research Foundation, together with another project, and financed on a transitional budget for a 2-year period. Since March 2022, the Citizens Heritage Research Foundation is based at the National Museum of Antiquities in Leiden, and we are funded by the Dutch Ministry of Education, Culture and Science. PAN was of course modeled on the Portable Antiquities scheme, which, as you well know, has been recording finds in England and Wales since 1997. Like PAS, PAN works mainly with a website that can be viewed by the public. Unlike PAS, the PAN website is not only accessible to employees, but also to the finders. After creating an account, they can register their finds independently. In addition, the pass finds are described in a text, as you probably know and can see on this slide. With PAN, the finds are linked to a reference type. These reference types are organized in a tree structure from the general to the specific. As an example, I have included a screenshot of a PAN datasheet for a Roman spoon. On the left-hand side, there's the find data, such as its dimensions and material, the site and year it was found, as well as a number of photos, of course. On the right-hand side is the reference type, with dating, distribution, literature, and a drawing of one or more typical examples of this type. If you click on the toggle at the top right, you can switch from the reference type to the map, showing you the location of the find site. In the public online version, only the municipality of the find site is displayed. This is to protect the finders, of course, who do not want their best locations to be known to others. But if you want to use the data at PAN and sign our declaration, then you can get a researcher's access. This will allow you to see the exact location of the find. In this particular case, the find site is not very precise, as it is a find from an old amateur excavation from the mid-19th century. But for most finds, the find site is precisely located with our app using GPS. The PAN app is designed to make it easier for the detectorists to record their finds and specifically to record the exact find spot. We ask them to take a picture of the hole they found the find in, and the app uses GPS to record the exact find spot at the same time. Because we work with reference types, PAN has two types of employees, registrars on the one hand and specialists on the other. Common to all employees is that we all work part-time. PAN has the equivalent of about 5 full-time positions to handle the entire Netherlands, which is about twice the size of Wales, but much more densely populated. The registrars record the finds at the finders' homes, or they arrange appointments to borrow the finds and record them at their own homes. They also give courses in which the finders learn how to record their own finds. The registrars are also present at detectorists meetings or determination days in museums and elsewhere to identify and record finds on site. The second group are the 3 specialists who build up the reference collection and validate the find records. We each have our own specialism, so while my colleague Miriam Kaas works at the medieval and modern finds, so everything dating after 450 AD, I am responsible for the Roman finds, or more correctly, everything predating 450 AD. And André van Hoek takes care of the maritime finds. The collection of reference types is a hierarchically organized determination tree consisting of reference types that are described on datasheets and range from the general to the specific. For example, you start at transport, then go to wagon and cart, and then to wagon and cart pulled by people or animals, and then part of a wagon or cart, and then running gear and chassis, and then axle and wheel, and then you get to linchpin, and then to Roman linchpin. These reference types are described in accordance with research standards and provided with a drawing, and if possible with the reference literature. The individual objects which are entered into the PAN database are identified by linking them to these reference types. The advantage of the tree structure in this is that it can be constantly expanded as required. For instance, if we discover that there are actually 2 or more types of Roman linchpins, we can add these as branches, Roman linchpin A, Roman linchpin B, and so on. So in this manner, the tree structure can be extended endlessly. In theory, there should be reference types for all objects from all periods. But unfortunately, this isn't practicable as PAN currently only has 3 specialists. Therefore, the reference types are being expanded according to the finds reported to PAN. In addition, we have enlisted the help of other experts to assist us with object groups for which we have no expertise, such as Roman ceramic building materials or Bronze Age finds. We hope to extend this collaboration in the future to ensure that the reference types are as accurate as possible. Meanwhile, the Pan reference collection is also used by commercial archaeology and heritage agencies in the Netherlands and abroad as a tool to identify finds, and Pan reference types are becoming increasingly common in excavation reports. As described above, finds are determined by linking the find data sheet with the current reference type. They are then validated by the relevant specialist. This validation is the guarantee for the scientific quality of the data in the Pan database. After validation, the finds can be viewed by anyone on the public Pan website. A special feature of the Pan database is that almost everything can be made undone again. If I have validated a find and then realize that I was wrong and that is actually something different, I can devalidate the find again, and the record can then simply be linked to a new reference type and validated again. The reference types can also be adapted at any time. In order to record assemblages of finds such as coin or jewelry hoards, a bunch of keys, or a shipwreck with all its contents, Pan offers the option of linking finds together using an extra find assemblage datasheet. You can see one on the left. It describes the entire find with its research history, dating, context and interpretation. And on the right is a list of the individual finds within this assemblage. And when you click on one of the finds, you get to the regular find record. Over 150 coin hoards have now been registered in Pan, ranging in size from 2 to 3,500 coins and dating from the late Iron Age to the modern period. The finds of 27 shipwrecks with their contents were also recorded, dating from the Roman period to 1940. As I mentioned earlier, the new Heritage Act of 2016 makes it illegal to search in inland waters and on the seabed. But there are many collections of finds that had been salvaged from shipwrecks in the years before this law came into force, often by diving clubs. These old finds have been included in Pan since 2022 with the help of volunteers. Since its start in 2016, Pan has been able to gain the trust of many finders, and with almost 2,000 registered finders can be considered very successful in the development of citizen participation in the registration of archaeological finds. But with Pan, citizens' participation goes beyond the mere reporting of your own finds. Many volunteers help to enter the finds from old collections into the Pan database, either alone or, as here, in a group. In addition, amateur researchers with knowledge of certain groups of objects, for instance medieval keys or early modern knives, are sometimes asked to help specialists to describe the relevant reference types. Pan also supports research projects by creating a link between interested citizens and professional archaeologists at universities, museums or companies. For example, Pan facilitates that projects such as constructing the limes can investigate the exact alloy composition of various Roman fibula types by organizing events such as this in the museum at Leeuwarden, where the finders can bring in their finds to get them XRF'd. Let's now talk about some of the research results. As far as the distribution of finds is concerned, these maps show that there are two regions that dominate in all periods. One is the region in the northeast on the coasts of Friesland and Groningen, and the other is the region between the two big rivers, the Rhine and the Waal. In both cases, these are regions whose soil consists largely of clay, which preserves metal finds particularly well. These regions were also not densely populated until the mid-20th century, and they are now mainly used for agriculture and livestock farming, creating good conditions for metal detecting. In contrast, far fewer finds are reported from the provinces of Drenthe and Overijssel in the northeast on the border with Germany. The soils there are either sandy or boggy, and there are many forests, which makes the condition less than ideal for metal finds. Most of the unexpected finds reported to Pan are of course hoards, such as the Roman coin hoard from Haserwoude in South Holland, or the sensational early medieval treasure find from the Springendal Nature Reserve in Overijssel. The latter consisted of coins and gold and silver jewelry and is interpreted as a sacrificial find. These led to the subsequent excavations and publications by the Cultural Heritage Agency. So you can see the publications on this slide. In addition to hoards and the discovery of previously unknown sites, Pan can also be used to trace typological developments and the distribution of certain finds. For example, my colleague Mirjam Kaas was able to classify the development of early medieval disc brooches more precisely with the help of finds from Pan, as you can see to the left. It was also possible to define a new type of Iron Age copper alloy bracelet decorated with hatching, which had previously only been known from one excavation and could now be expanded with 34 new finds, as you can see on the right. Pan works particularly well with finds of a less spectacular nature, such as these early Roman lead ingots from the Barbaricum. 5 objects reported in the Pan database were originally thought to be lead weights. The shape is reminiscent of ceramic loom weights, but these are lead ingots of the Garbeck type. Around 70 finds of this type of lead ingot are known from North Rhine-Westphalia, with a concentration in the northern Sauerland region around Soest, a region that has lead ore deposits. According to Ingo Pfeffer, lead mining in the Soest region was started by the Romans during their occupation of Westphalia with the installations along the river Lippe. These ingots clearly demonstrate Roman influence in their production and in their shape. After the disastrous Varus battle in 9 AD, the Roman army retreated to the Rhine, but the production of this type of lead ingot in the Sauerland region, now outside of the Roman Empire, continued unabated. It was not until the second half of the 1st century AD that there was a marked decline. Pfeffer links this to the conquest of Britain in 43 AD, as the lead from the British Isles probably destroyed the market for the Westphalian lead mines. As the Germanic tribes themselves had no great demand for lead, production ceased and the settlements emptied. The distribution in Pan shows that this type of lead ingot was also traded as far as the Netherlands. This had not yet been demonstrated, but is not entirely unexpected, as the Netherlands could be reached from Westphalia downstream via the Lippe and the Rhine rivers. Such simple objects were rarely, if ever, recorded before the introduction of Pan. And although the finds from the Pan database no longer have an archaeological context, this shows that they can still provide important information offering insights into trade networks of the early Roman period, which unexpectedly extended into regions outside of the empire. Thank you for your attention.